Everybody, welcome to the Great Lakes Divide live stream powered by FederalWilliams.com. I'm your host, Adam Biggers. Follow me on Twitter at AdamBiggers81. Follow Great Lakes Divide at GL Divide. Same handle on Twitter and Facebook. And if you're looking for a new home, Federal Williams is the place to go. FederalWilliams.com. You can search. They specialize in the Lansing area with a focus on eastern suburbs like Okemos, East Lansing, Hazlet. But Mike Williams is also your go-to on a statewide basis as well. So you can look up areas by zip code, neighborhood, find out everything you need to know. Again, FederalWilliams.com. Contact Mike Williams, tell him that we sent you. We're going to get into some discussion today. Michigan plays Nebraska. We'll save the preview talk for Friday predictions as usual. Get a couple of comments, questions, more like comments from Twitter. So we'll get into those. I'll talk about excuse me, the Jim Harbaugh's Monday press conference today. Player availability. I have those videos on my YouTube channel. So you're watching this right now. So go ahead, subscribe to the YouTube channel and check out the videos. There's Mike Onwenu, right guard, linebacker Devin Bush, wide receiver Grant Perry. I was not able to catch up with Tyree Kennel. He was available, but got Devin, Grant, Mike Onwenu, and Jim Harbaugh. And basically, you guys know the drill. If you're a regular viewer, if you are new to the live stream, basically just ask questions in the chat, and I do my best to give you an answer. Real quick before we start anything, and before there's rumors and everything, I can 100, and I tweeted this out earlier. A lot of you guys have been asking about Cron Higdon. I can 100% confirm it was an ankle injury. I don't know the severity of it. Harbaugh said, before or after Saturday's 45-20 win over SMU that it was a game time decision and that Cron decided that he didn't want to go. So I don't know the severity of it, but I do know that it was an ankle injury. So that much, and it was suffered against Western Michigan. So that's everything that I know and can confirm. And you guys know, there's rumors and stuff out there, and I don't go with that. I just go with what I can confirm. Not that the hot topic of a very minor injury to Cron Higdon was rumor worthy, but John Brower's in the chat. He says Michigan will dominate Nebraska. Okay. Hold on, guys. I'm going to tweet this live link out and put it on the Facebook page, and then we'll go. So. And again, while I'm thinking about it, follow me on Twitter if you don't already, at AdamBiggers81, and follow Great Lakes Divide at GL Divide, and that's the same handle on Twitter and Facebook. So, okay, we have those tweeted out. Aaron Quinney says, happy to see DPJ ball out finally. Yeah, he's had a pretty good start. John Brower says Nebraska's 0-3. They have no chance. Want to talk about that? I'm going to cut this stream short today because I have some writing I'm doing, and you bring it up, Aaron, Donovan Peoples-Jones, and I asked Harbaugh today if he has ever had a quarterback that he's coached, just get off to such a hot start with his receivers, and that he said he can't recall that. And then I asked Michigan's athletic department that they don't really start keeping records until it's 200 attempts, but it's certain that Shea through 3 games has the highest completion percentage of any quarterback, Harbaugh quarterback at Michigan. It might be a Michigan record, but again, they don't really start keeping track until 200 attempts. And I mean, 3 games, it's not some miraculous stat, but this quick start does reinforce what the numbers already said about Shea. Playmaker, high completion percentage. So, I mean, I never would have thought he'd be completing 70 points. He's almost at 71%, 70.8. So I'll get to you. If you guys have any other questions in the chat, go ahead. But I want to lead off with, this was a question that I posed earlier about your thoughts from Saturday. And Brett Woodburn at BMW2 _717 says, I think the Michigan offense is getting to where it needs to be. I put most struggles Saturday on Chris Evans not being a number one back. Good, talented player who I think will be in the NFL, but he's never played well when he's asked to be the main guy. And then Brett went on to add that Chris had a slow start. I mean, he did. There's no denying that. But I don't, and I had this conversation today actually with a couple, I call them colleagues, like a professional. Matt Pargoff, Amazing Blue News, and John Borton of the Wolverine. We were sitting around eating pizza and actually talking about this. And I said, I think the fans were really too critical on Chris Evans because Chris's job, I think, was just to set the tempo. I mean, this was a game I think that they went into with expanding passing game, having that in mind. And judging based on some of the comments Grant Perry today, I think that's a fair assumption. So that's what I figured was going to happen anyway. So logical assumption, lucky guess, whatever you want to call it. So they went in with that mindset. And I think with Chris Evans, people were frustrated because he didn't have the big plays. And Brett mentioned later in a reply that he was running into blitzes. And at one point he had I think it was 17 carries for 50 yards. He ended up, or 15 carries for 50 yards. He ended up with 18 carries for 85 yards. He broke off a 35-yard run, finished the day averaging 4.7 yards per carry. So on paper, that's a good game, right? But if you watched it, and I know that you guys did, yeah, Chris, it was a sputtering start. I was tweeting that. He was spinning his tires in the mud, however you want to call it. Whatever you want to call it, it was a slow start. But ultimately, I don't think that Chris Evans had a bad game. And I mean, these numbers aren't bad by any stretch. But despite the lack of, the big play early and everything, I mean, I think there's other problems offensively. It was 0-0 after the first quarter. Michigan's offense, those first two drives just was not thinking, I guess. But we could get into that later. Bottom line with Chris Evans, I think Chris did a great job as far as executing game plan. I mean, he had to be the number one back that day because Karan was the game time decision. And like I said, it was an ankle. He had an ankle injury against Western Michigan. And I don't know the severity of it, but I would expect that he plays against Nebraska. And we can get into the running back situation later. But I think Chris Evans did a really good job of just carrying the load. He didn't fumble. I mean, he wasn't getting tackled for major losses. And, at the end of the day, he averaged 4.7 yards a carry. Carried the ball 18 times securely. True Wilson also did a pretty good job. So I think that Michigan's plan wasn't necessarily to, okay, let's put the run game on display, which I think was the plan against Western Michigan. I think, they just go into this and say, okay, going to hand the ball off to Chris the majority of the time. True will back him up a little bit, but here's a game where we want to get Shea, roll him out a little bit and start making some plays. And we saw, it looked like the offense is expanding. And I asked Grant Perry about that today. He said that he feels like he likes the trajectory of it. I asked Grant how much of the offense we have seen. He said, what the plays the coaches have called, of course, but he said there's a lot of stuff that we haven't seen yet. And Nick Baumgartner, the Free Press, followed up and, kind of wanted to quantify it. And he said, well, like a sliver. And Grant agreed. So we've seen, a sliver of Michigan's offense. Mike Onwenu said we haven't even seen half of Michigan's offense yet. So, and then Jason Ambergy, one of my favorite followers. He's been following me for a long time. Jay, if you're watching, hello. He followed up with, oh, shoot. I'm trying to find it. Okay, he says Evans was running into blitz. Okay, it was Jason that said it. Running into blitzes at the start of the game. He's very solid and shiftier than Higdon with better vision. Probably could have used him more against that Notre Dame front. Yeah, and I mean, we didn't see a ton of Chris didn't even get a carry in the first half against Notre Dame. So, all right. Well, I kept up my end of the bargain. I told, but if you guys tweet me early when I'm tweeting about the, when I'm going to go live and stuff, usually if it's first response or if it's, a good topic, I'll lead with that. So thanks to Brett and Jason for helping out on that. And again, follow me on Twitter at AdamBiggers81 and follow Great Lakes Divide at GL Divide. And now it's time to get into the chat. I do want to talk about availability today. If you guys watch the press conference or the videos, if you have any questions about those, and basically any other topics that you guys want to discuss. And Like I said, I do want to kind of limit it today because I have some writing on the Shea DPJ connection with a splash of Gentry and looking at what Shea has done. 14 of 15 at DPJ for 4 touchdowns. That's video game. That's video game. 11 to 17 to Gentry. And yesterday, or Saturday rather, career high for Gentry. 4 catches for 95 yards. They're all first down catches too. So I mean, it's you're seeing something here with Shea, and I think I always kind of and I'll bring it up because it's like, okay, don't assume it's Shea. Okay, it was Shea. I get it, but there was a competition. I'm not gonna back down on that. There was a competition, but at the end of the day, I think it was just Shea. And hey, if someone can even push him, that's beside the point. With Shea, I wanted to wait and see, and it's only been 3 games, but so far what I've seen is he's living up to the hype, and I think that he might even be able to do a little bit more than what he did at Ole Miss. I think that he's got some better athletes at Michigan, and I just think it's a better fit for him overall. And you're going to see the struggles. It's a new quarterback, and Mike Onwenu said they're not building the offense around Shea, but I mean, or Cesar Ruiz rather. They're not building the offense around Shea, but they're definitely doing things that help accentuate his talent. So the rollouts, playing out of the shotgun a little bit more, that's not, they're not really doing a whole lot of that. When Jake Rudock was a quarterback, or when Wilton Spate was a quarterback, or even with John O'Corn. So, all right, I'll get to the comments now. They're blowing up. Elite Demon says, Adam Biggers, do you really believe Michigan still has more than half the playbook left and would not have used it to win against Notre Dame? Yeah, I don't know if they hit about half the playbook, and certainly if you're going to, that's a big game. It doesn't matter. Yeah, you got to show something. So, I believe that there are certain things that we haven't seen yet, and maybe against Notre Dame they just weren't ready to do it. Maybe it was too much of a risk involved. They didn't have all these wrinkles ironed out or what. I mean, I don't know, but I do believe that there's a lot of the playbook that we haven't seen yet. I do believe that. Aaron Quinney says, why they start so damn slow every week? It's like we come out with the same stuff. GDRCO says, Quinney, I totally agree. Looks like they have Thanksgiving dinner an hour before they hit the field. Nayan20 says, who do you think will start the first half of Nebraska game instead of Khalid Cutson? Jordan Glasgow. Jordan's the backup Viper. And sorry, guys, let's focus. I'm trying to work on it. Dale Terry says, yo, Saginaw, Michigan in the house. Hey, Dale. Sag nasty. Sean Hull says, adding to what Aaron said, I do believe Michigan's offense has been predictable. I agree with you guys on that. I'm hoping with what's being reported that it does expand for conference play. It is good. I do believe it's going to expand for conference play. And guys, I'm not trying to make Michigan fans overly optimistic. In the beginning of the season, I said this was a 9-3 team. Maybe 10-2 if things go really well. 9-3 was more than fair. And then I thought, okay, the O-line's bad and they don't have the rhythm with receivers. Maybe this, very low end 8-4. They're looking like a 9-3 team right now to me. And I mean, 10-2, I don't know. I want to see some Big Ten games, but with what Shea's doing right now, I think you have to be really encouraged. And you don't see this type. Look, it's one thing to have maybe a little string. Okay, there's a 5-play sample size or something like that. There is a 15-play sample size with Donovan Peoples-Jones, and 14 of those were receptions. And I have all the stat. I mean, he's averaging I think it's 11 yards a catch. I'll have all that stuff again that I'll post later on GreatLakesDivide.squarespace.com, and I'll tweet it from my Twitter at AdamBiggers81 and from at GLDivide. The numbers here, I mean, this isn't. Yeah, it's a 3-game sample size, but 15 targets. 14 of them were receptions. 4 of them were touchdowns. 3 in one game. I mean, it's undeniable right now. And I think it'd be foolish to say, oh, okay, well, this is just some kind of fluky start. He's hot. Is he going to complete 70% of his passes on the year? No, he won't. But the connection with Donovan Peoples-Jones, the connection with Zach Gentry, that's real. And I think that we have with Gentry, I want to see more of a a larger sample size. With DPJ, you have it. And I think there's more than enough right there. Um, Jared Jansen says, "Bigger, hey Jared, I called you back yesterday. Biggers, what's up? Do you really think Michigan has only showed half their offense so far?" I don't know about half, Jared, but we haven't seen it. And guys, Jared Jansen, he did my video stuff for 3 years with FanRag Sports, JJ Sports Video. So if you guys have been watching, the old video interviews and everything, the ones that had all the nice graphics and everything for FanRag, that was Jared. So thanks, Jared. Appreciate it. Jared Jansen said, and Jared's a camera guy, can you turn on manual focus instead of autofocus from your video? Yeah, I'm trying to, Jared. How in the hell do I do that? It's a new phone, so it's weird. I'll try to do that. But yeah, the tips duly noted, sir. Thank you. Aaron Quinney says, first time we did any type of real innovation, we scored fake jet sweep, then fake to tailback. And then DPJ for 6. More of that, please. I agree with that, Aaron. Cody Boyle says, are you worried about how the safeties played so far? No. Any update on Luigi Iron Cross asks? No. And as far as the safety, I wrote a column actually yesterday. Josh Metellus said, Josh Metellus is one of those guys where Michigan fans just pile on this kid. And I've described him like this all year, and even back in the last year, risk to reward player, but the reward far outweighs the risk with Josh Metellus. It really does. That call at Notre Dame, highly questionable. He felt horrible about it. People piled on, calling him undisciplined and a liability and so on and so forth. That pass interference call, that was questionable. He plays hard, and okay, there might be a penalty or two that comes with that. But guess what? There's also the chance for a huge play, and we saw that with the 73-yard pick 6. And he had this in mind, all thinking 17 seconds before halftime, all thinking about, okay, well, what's the difference between a 1-score lead and a 2-score lead with SMU getting the ball back in the second half? I mean, he knew he had to score. 17 seconds, he knew he had to score. So Joe Provo says, Adam, what are your favorite stadiums to visit as a member of the media, considering things such as view, space, press box, game day logistics, food, etc.? That's a good question, Joe. I really like Michigan Stadium. The food is incredible, so I'm really all about that. The view is incredible. The atmosphere is incredible. There aren't many places I think that are better. A nice fall day, college football in Ann Arbor. So. Notre Dame was pretty cool too. I like Notre Dame. I like Lucas Oil Stadium a lot. And trying to think. Are you just talking about college football stadiums? Because there's some baseball stadiums I like. That's a good question. Rick Pott says, I thought the secondary to be outstanding preseason, but discouraging to see teams exploiting them far too easily. Sean Hull says, adding to DPJ, he's been a really good blocker as well. Yeah, I mean, Donovan's really coming into his own right now. And with Shea, I mean, Shea deserves some credit, but I think you really have to look at the wide receivers. They're running routes, they're blocking well. I mean, they're making plays on the ball. I mean, it's not Shea's giving them to him on the money as well, but I mean, it's like they just have this unspoken thing where they know where Shea's going to put the ball. Gentry's got that with Shea, no question about that. And Donovan Peoples-Jones and Shea Patterson must be telepathic twins or something. You don't complete 14 to 15 passes for 4 touchdowns if it's not Madden. And I mean, this is real life college football, and these are just unbelievable throws by Shea Patterson. I mean, just really showing off that arm. Iron Cross, yeah, with the drop last year versus. Okay, well, yeah, but I mean, you got to take that. I mean, would you rather Metellus not have even been in the position to do that? That's what I'm saying. I mean, I think people are too critical. Josh Metellus is great when it comes to making a play on the ball. Does he sometimes put himself in a bad position? I don't know he's not doing it consciously. read this. Read the story. I got it. Great quotes talking about the 4 to 6 second windows and everything, turning it on, turning it off. Read the story on Great Lakes divide.squarespace.com. Let me know what you think of it. And actually, I'll do you a favor, and I'll drop the link in here right now. Cody Voyle says, I don't know what Cody. Oh, after seeing Wisconsin and Penn State thus far, I think we handled them at home. Ethan Lahena says, after his last 2 showings, True Wilson has looked pretty good. Do you think he will get more carries throughout the rest of the season? Yeah, I do. I mean, and again, I saw this after the Western Michigan game, and we talked about this, after the SMU game. True Wilson wasn't just a feel-good story. I mean, he's a number 3 running back. He was a former walk-on. He wasn't just Michigan didn't make him available to us because he's a feel-good story. I think part of that might be, but I mean, and not to, I don't want to knock anybody else, but I mean, that week, we got like some walk-on, Jake McCurry. We probably won't see him again this year. I mean, good for him. He scored an 18-yard touchdown, and he had his moment and everything. That's awesome. For True Wilson isn't going to be a guy who has like one moment this year. I think True Wilson's going to have several moments this year, and he's a legitimate. He's not a feel-good story. He's a legitimate college running back, and he's number 3 for a reason. And I think after True, we'll go down the depth chart. After True, it'll be Omari Samuels. Omari got some promise, I think, and then Christian Turner. And Christian Turner really turned a lot of heads. Pardon the poor play on words there, but he really turned a lot of heads during preseason camp. A lot of guys were talking about Christian Turner. So, Joe, back to stadium comments, says mainly was asking about college. Any that you didn't really care for or stuck out as being super lackluster? Maybe you don't care of it. I'm trying to think of I've been to there's some dumps. That's a good one. Let me think about that. I can't think of the worst stadium that I've ever been to. Actually, yeah, I'm gonna say this would probably without a doubt, actually, just because of I'm forgetting Citrus Bowl in Orlando. That place is a dump, like a hole. I can't believe they had a major bowl game there, somewhat major. Buffalo Wild Wings Citrus Bowl, Michigan versus Florida. That stadium was a POS. Cody Peiser says, "Is your guy Uche hurt long term?" I do not have an update on Josh Uche. J Mays too says, "Hey Biggs, just got in. What I missed? Not a whole lot. Just talking about today's availability. Feel free to chime in with any questions. Talking about True Wilson a little bit. I have some video interviews with Mike Onwenu. There's Devin Bush. There's Grant Perry. Bear Hudson wants to know, will Jalen Mayfield see the field? I mean, Jalen's played. Will he see the field against Nebraska? I don't know. But, I mean, he's played already. Drew Fortier says Northwestern is a dump. Absolutely sucks. Kyle Ralph says, their practice field by Lake Michigan, though, is beautiful. Have you seen that picture? Pat Fitzgerald tweeted it the other day. Absolutely beautiful. Kyle Ralph says, do you think there's any chance Wisconsin or Michigan State pick up another loss on Saturday? Michigan State against Indiana. Indiana has given the Spartans problems, and if Michigan State isn't even anywhere close to the team that a lot of people thought, Michigan State was talked as a college football playoff contender in the preseason. If right now is the time for Michigan State to show something. They're coming off a bye week. It's I think that this might be, and is the bye week so early? Is that a good thing or is that a bad thing? I mean, you just went on the road to Arizona State as a late game. You lost on a 28-yard field goal, 16-13, and you've had all this time to stew on that. And I mean, I don't know. The bye week got screwed up because of the proposed home and home thing with Alabama. So Michigan State got stuck with an early bye week because of that Alabama backing out. Jared Jansen says, "Who do I got in the World Series?" I don't know. I kind of like Cleveland. I like Cleveland a little bit. Joe Prolos says, "I went to the Citrus Bowl. It's also low key and a very rough, but yeah, no, not low key. It's in. I felt like I was the, it was like island housing almost. I mean, it was like what you expect. The outskirts of a town in Haiti or something. I mean, it looked. I mean, palm trees. These things look like shacks, literally. And yeah, it's in a. And the game got out late, and even people like locals were saying like, don't hang out there at night. I actually got a ride home to my hotel from the Allen family, Kenny Allen, punter and kicker. He's from Fenton. I'd known his family for a long time. He and his brother were stars at Fenton High School, and I was at the Flint Journal. His older brother Jimmy was. Kenny, once he got to Michigan, I was covering Michigan. So yeah, long story short, I was gonna go call a taxi, and next thing I see, the Allen family and his mom Stacy was like, "You could ride with us," and I was like, "Thank you." I'm not waiting out here for a cab. And I'm from Flint. I'm not really scared of that much, but I mean, in a strange area like that, and that looked like, guys. All right, there we go. All right, the phone call disconnected. Yeah, anybody that's interested in becoming a premium subscriber, this is a real thing. I'm going to give you guys content that I don't post for everybody else, and it's going to be might make the live stream subscription based. So there's a lot of possibilities. Basically, if you like what I do, if you like the live streams, if you like what I write, if you like what Ryan Schuling writes and how he covers Michigan State, that'll be included in it as well. And you want to give us money for it, that's awesome. So that's basically the gist of the deal there. So Cody Peischer says Tuttle got escorted out of the Citrus Bowl in 2016. Security seems to be on point. Nate Tuttle, guys, yes, Nate Tuttle's getting a lot of mentions. If you guys remember the live stream last year from Dallas, Nate Tuttle made the cameo. We were using the hotel little lobby, shared a hotel with Cody, Nate, and Manny. It was a great trip to Dallas. Got to see a lot of cool stuff. Cody, yeah, never follow Nate. He's leading us on a damn goose chase. We want to go see the JFK memorial spot, and Nate's leading us all over Dallas like a group of fools. And at one, I just said, "Screw this," and I went back to the hotel. I'm like, I'm not following Tuttle around all day. He'd been drinking. I wasn't, so that was part of the reason. And he was having a good time and fun, and it was hot and frustrating. And Cody, I applaud you for going through with it. You and Manny. Man, 20. Do I cover any Major League Baseball teams? I do not. Dale Terry says pick up the phone. I do have to call them back though. That was a call. I hadn't talked to them in a while, so a good friend of mine. J Mays 2, when will you start doing the premium? As soon as, I want to make sure that there's a good amount of interest in it, but I want to begin it as soon as possible. I'm just trying to figure out the logistics behind it. With the YouTube videos, what I can do is some of them I won't post public, and it's just like an unlisted link. So if you're a premium member, you'll get the link to that. So assuming that you don't spread it around and let other people see it, because there's nothing. It's not like you have to put a password or anything in it to see it, but only you'll be able to see it. So yeah. Jay Mace 2 also says, I feel like we really miss Mo Hurst in the middle. Cody Boyle says, where's your Stan the Man jersey? It's up there because I alternated it to honor Henrik Zetterberg. This is a quick peek. some of them. This is when you know we're getting toward the end of the stream. 30 minutes, we're talking about jerseys. Any word on Tariq Black? No update on Tariq. I don't expect, I expect if he makes a return, it's going to be late in the year. Yeah, guys, anybody else? J-Mays too, I appreciate it. Anybody else that's interested in the, we're gonna get fancy and call it the Great Lakes Divide Premium Package. Anybody who's interested in that, more than welcome to contact me, and I'll make sure, it's going to be cheap. Ideally, if we could get, all 1,200 subscribers and everybody's, $1 per month. I mean, that's pretty good. That's a pretty good little side gig right there. So I wouldn't mind that. I don't want to charge you guys a lot because there's a lot of people who cover Michigan, and I'm sure you guys have memberships to some of the other paid sites and everything, but I know this type of stuff that's on there, and I'll be able to give you that kind of stuff and hopefully more. Nayan20 says, do you ever consider covering the Detroit Tigers? In the summer of 2011, I actually freelanced for Yahoo Sports, and I did cover a couple Tigers games, actually. I've always wondered, if you guys know who Steve Kornacki is from MGO Blue, he was a longtime baseball beat writer, and he covered the Detroit Tigers for MLive, and he's a big baseball guy. I love baseball, and I've talked to Steve a lot about the life of a Major League Baseball beat writer is like, that is a grind. That is a grind, and I don't know if I would even be able to do that. I mean, just the amount of writing those guys do is insane. The travel, there's a lot that goes into. I have a lot of respect for the men and women who are Major League Baseball beat writers, because that's a hell of a grind. NHL is a grind. Bear Hudson wants to know, have you heard anything new about Dax? No, I haven't. Nope. Just what I've been telling you guys. Every time I get asked, I used to talk to Dax. He's always been very interested. So I feel like the Michigan's got a good shot. This isn't a thing where Michigan got in late and okay, now there's increased interest and maybe he's trying to leverage that against other schools. Michigan was always high interest for Dax Hill from the beginning. So that's why I think the Michigan has a good shot. All right, guys, I'm going to check the Twitter one last time, see if we have any questions. I do want to get to I want to get to some writing, and again, like I mentioned, this is going to be diving into some numbers. I'm actually pretty excited to write this. Diving into the numbers with DPJ and Shea, looking at some of the connections there, and I'll have, I've been asking questions now since the SMU game, so there'll be quotes from Harbaugh, a couple other players, what they've noticed from Shea. Cesar Ruiz. Cesar played with Shea at IMG. I asked Cesar today if Shea was, what they figured he'd be, or if Cesar knew what to expect. He said he wasn't sure if everybody else did, and now they see it. So, that's it's going to be, that'll be up at some point tonight. And GreatLakesDivide.squarespace.com, on Twitter at GLDivide, and that's the same handle for Facebook. And my Twitter, again, for the millionth time, at AdamBiggers81. And we're going to close it down, guys. One last question. GDRCO says, who's calling the offensive plays? That first half was painful. Any remedies? It's offensive. Jim Harbaugh has the final say in play calls. I have a feeling that a lot of those play calling duties are probably in Pep Hamilton's hands right now. Ethan Lahanis, can premium members do call-ins? I don't know if there's a way to do that. If anybody's like YouTube channel expert, I would appreciate some advice. I've been doing some research. I need to be a cell phone expert, know how to properly focus this thing. Maybe that's the first step. But yeah, if there's a way, whatever we do with the premium package, it'll be worth the money for sure. I'm not gonna, I wouldn't charge you guys money and then just give you some, run-of-the-mill bull crap that you can easily, find on Twitter from 50 other different blogs. All right, guys. Jay Mays, I'll answer it. We'll end on your comment. Jay Mays 2 wants to know how come no one nationally is talking about Scott Frost 0-2, but when Harbaugh loses against Notre Dame, the universe goes berserk? Well, because he's Scott Frost and Jim Harbaugh is Jim Harbaugh. Jay Mays 2. Anything that Jim Harbaugh does, it's the loss of it. It's just gonna create a media storm, and I laugh, and I'm not discrediting national media. I'm not knocking them, but I mean, they're not there all the time. It's very easy to come in and write, and I've said this. I wrote it, a joke, almost jokingly, the obligatory doom and gloom Michigan column. It's so easy. It's so easy. And if you look at how Michigan was lost, I don't even want to get it. I'll go on for 10 or 15 minutes on this. You guys have heard me, but Google that, the obligatory doom and gloom Michigan column. I wrote that after the loss to Notre Dame. That's why, though. And I'll end this, Jay Mays, too. He'll get compared, Colin Cowherd will compare him to Nick Saban 1 week, and then 2 weeks later say that he's overrated. I mean, that's Jim Harbaugh is a polarizing guy. I don't feel like there's a coach in college football that people flip flop on more than Jim Harbaugh. It's ridiculous. I feel like you either are like, I don't want to say on board with him. I believe that he's the right man for the job at Michigan. I don't think anybody will do a better job than Jim Harbaugh. So you either believe that, or you're on the other camp who wants to, say that the Harbaugh era is a bust. And I'll make this final point because I know I'm going to start going off on this now. The Big Ten's different right now. Look at, aside from the national championship, Lloyd Carr won the Big Ten a few times. I realize that he was at Michigan longer. But Lloyd was having 9-3 and 8-4 seasons. And I see a lot of Michigan fans on Twitter like whining about Lloyd Carr. 10 years ago, they couldn't wait to get rid of Lloyd Carr. It's weird. So I'm going to end it on that, guys. Again, thanks for watching. I want to thank FederalWilliams.com, our title sponsor, experts in real estate in the Lansing area, and also your statewide go-to. So contact Mike Williams through FederalWilliams.com. Tell him we sent you. Follow me on Twitter at AdamBiggers81, Great Lakes Divide at GL Divide, and that's the same handle on Twitter and Facebook. I want to thank everybody for watching today. There'll be some writing coming up later. And any other questions, I'll try to get to them throughout the night. Just tweet them at me, at AdamBiggers81. Appreciate it. Jay Mays 2 says, LOL, you're the man. And I appreciate it, guys. If I skipped your question, I didn't mean to. We got a lot all at once, but all you regulars know who you are, so thanks for watching. We'll do it again. Probably have one tomorrow or Wednesday morning. Tomorrow will be player availability, so I'll have more video interviews with players. And so if I'm not too tired tomorrow night, we'll do it. If not, it'll be Wednesday morning. So I'll tweet that, when I figure out the time. So thanks a lot for watching. I'll talk to you guys next time.